programme.
First tonight, one of the region's top police officers has warned that cuts to funding will inevitably lead to cutbacks in frontline staff.
Cambridgeshire Chief Constable Julie Spence made the remark in her weekly podcast. She's having to deal with a budget cut of more than £1 million, and Cambridgeshire is not alone.
Many of our forces already have recruitment freezes in place, and more drastic measures may be needed to balance the books.
So what's likely to be the effect on the service we get from our police forces? Emma Baker reports.
Bobby's on the beat in Witham near Chelmsford today, a reassuring sight for any community. But is it a luxury we soon won't be able to afford? Our police forces are already facing funding cuts. Now the head of Cambridgeshire Police, Julie Spence, is warning in her latest podcast that if the cuts continue, frontline services will suffer.
However grim the clampdown on spending becomes, our priority, indeed our duty, is to ensure that we continue to police communities and neighbourhoods at today's levels. That will not be easy, and if further cuts come, there is no doubt that despite our best efforts, there will be an impact on frontline services.
Alan Sower manages the community centre in the Arbury area of Cambridge. He feels in these tough economic times, police forces should prioritise frontline services above all else.
If you cut frontline policing, then the issues that will arise from the lack of policing will be manifested in more crime and more issues, which will cost more money further down the line for somebody else.
This year alone, £115 million will be cut nationally from the police force. Of that, more than 12 million is in our region, with Essex losing £2.5 million from its budget, Hertfordshire just under £2 million, Cambridgeshire almost £1.2 million, Norfolk £1.25 million, with Bedfordshire, Northamptonshire and Suffolk all losing just over £1 million. A former chief constable says we should prepare ourselves for big government cuts to affect the levels of local policing.
As we move into next year, the things that you'd expect the police officers to come to, like a minor theft report or maybe even a burglary, you may not find them either coming to that burglary or minor theft or getting there very quickly.
And it's not just the police. Our court system will be cut back too. 14 of 34 magistrates' courts could close across our region, along with 5 of our 18 county courts. Frontline cuts is a prospect that alarms many we spoke to in Cambridge today.
It's inevitable that all services are going to have to take some sort of cut, given that, unfortunately, there's tough consequences, but I think that's just what we all have to accept.
This whole idea that departments are going to be cut by a third of their spending is actually really quite worrying and quite scary, and if that applies to the police as well, then that's obviously going to make a lot of people very anxious.
Definitely don't take any more police off the beat. I mean, if you walk around Cambridge even today, you'll probably not see hardly any.
Of course, our police forces are just one of a number of public services that are facing drastic cuts. We were warned they were coming. We were told it wouldn't be easy. Now we're having to face up to the reality. Emma Baker, Anglia News, Cambridge.
Well, our political correspondent Matthew Hudson's been following this story from Westminster. I began by asking him why the Home Office cuts appeared to be so severe.
Well, Jonathan, you can be certain that the coalition is not going to relish making these cuts. The Conservatives in particular have always sold themselves as the party of law and order, not the party that takes resources away from the police and the court system. But the problem that they've got is that with health and international development budgets ring-fenced, and defence and education also seen as a special case, it means other departments are really going to have to take the strain. And it looks like the Home Office is going to be one of those departments.
So, Matthew, how deep do you think the cuts could be in this area?
Well, we know the government has spoken about cutting public spending across the board by 25%, but if there are going to be exemptions, then it looks like some other departments, including the Home Office, could face cuts of up to 33%. To put that into context, there are around 144,000 police officers across the country, so we could be looking at losing 40,000 plus of them, along with thousands of civilian staff and PCSOs. As far as courts go, they're looking at closing 40% of our courts, including magistrates and county courts, but it is worth saying that some of those, including places like Ely and Wisbech, are already only open on a very part-time basis.
OK, Matthew, thanks very much. Police have been given further time to question a 57-year-old man in connection with a shooting in a Norfolk village. The incident happened yesterday morning in Nordelph, just west of Downham Market. A man who was shot in the hand remains in a stable condition in hospital, and a woman who was shot in the stomach left hospital earlier today. Officers want to hear from anyone with more information.
Now, detectives investigating the murder of a Lithuanian woman in Wisbech have made 2 further arrests. Jolanta Dunkuvien's body was discovered at her home in Milner Road in Wisbech in May. Police have arrested a 26-year-old man and a 23-year-old woman, both from Wisbech. A 44-year-old man's been charged with her murder. Now, with the World Cup on, the television's hardly been off, but tonight there's a warning that too much TV significantly increases the risk of heart disease.
A 10-year study carried out on middle-aged people in Norfolk has revealed worrying statistics about the death rate in connection with the amount of time spent in front of the television screen. Malcolm Robertson has more.
Harry Marks is one of the thousands who took part in research about the amount of television we watch. At his home in Norfolk, he's in front of the screen about 4.5 hours a day. At 64 and 16.5 stone, he has to be careful with his lifestyle. With the World Cup on, we're likely to be watching a lot more television than usual. But today there's a warning that too much time increases the risk of heart disease. Harry was part of the study carried out by the Medical Research Council and is determined to maintain a level of fitness in retirement.
For the grandchildren and my children, they are always saying to me that they want me to live longer. Well, of course I want to live longer as well. So I believe that good exercise and eating the right foods and keeping that weight down, doing the balance of, yes, watching the television, having a nice life, but making sure that you exercise, keep all the joints going and the weight down.
The study was carried out on more than 13,000 healthy middle-aged men and women in Norfolk. Research revealed that more than 370 of those died from heart disease over a 10-year period. It's estimated that 30 of those deaths might have been avoided if they'd watched less television.
We're not trying to be killjoys here. All of us should enjoy watching England progress magnificently in the World Cup. But what we should avoid is making that a habit. The issues that we're dealing with here are about prolonged every day watching television for prolonged periods of time.
We watch on average 4 hours of TV a day. That's just the average. There are people who watch a lot more than that. Cutting it down to just an hour a day significantly reduces the risk of heart disease. The study also took into account other risk factors like smoking, obesity, lack of exercise and poor diet. Jonathan Williams is the Assistant Director of Public Health in Norfolk. He says those over 40 should get their health checked out anyway and concentrate on a level of fitness. What should they be doing?
The important thing is to get some exercise into your daily routine. It doesn't have to be a lot of exercise. It can be simple, gentle exercise. But to think about it as part of something we offset against our lives when we know we're going to be doing a lot of sitting around. These sorts of environments are perfect for us to think about walking, cycling, or just strolling as a family, walking the dog. These sorts of things are crucial to us as we grow older.
Former Norwich City footballer Craig Fleming is a personal trainer at Green's Gym in Norwich. He says whatever your age, the importance of fitness can't be overstated.
The difference it makes if you don't use your body, if you get a little bit lazy, especially with the World Cup on, sit on a few beers and pizza watching the football, it makes a big difference to your general health and well-being, for sure.
Harry Marks is proof that even a modest amount of exercise can improve your physical and mental well-being. And of course, if you are keen to keep watching the television, you can always combine it with a bit of exercise as well. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News, Norfolk.